What's going on, guys? Architecture here with a new video for you all. Today I want to talk about Fallout and what the issue is with this series as of right now. If you're new to the world, you're probably trying to figure out what the hell is going on with Bethesda. Why is Bethesda constantly in the news, and why does everyone out of nowhere just hate Bethesda? Because there's non-stop videos about Bethesda's E3 conference, Fallout 76, and all these issues when it comes to Bethesda, how they once were the pinnacle of what the gaming community loved to now being the enemy of the gaming community. So to start things off, let's rewind. When it comes to Bethesda, their conferences have always been boring, but what they weren't were lies. And when it came to Fallout 76, everyone felt like they were lied to when it came to that game. Everyone felt like they were betrayed when it came to that game. So last year, when they were showing off Fallout 76 and all those things, and Todd Howard came out and said all these positive things about 76, that people went out and bought it, that same year, and it ended up not being what people thought it was going to be. It ended up being a pretty terrible game. It released in a terrible state. It released with little to no content. Everything that Todd Howard said ended up being a lie when it came to the game. So because of that, everyone just turned on Bethesda, and rightfully so. If you're gonna sit here and tell a lie and then sell a product, you get what you deserve. So coming back to where we are now, everyone was waiting for Todd Howard to come out at E3 and basically apologize for 76, and he didn't. What he did was he bragged about, we have 60 million people playing Bethesda games online. We have all these things. He's bragging about the success of Bethesda Studios and the games that they've created in ESO and Fallout 76, and he's praising the gamers for sticking with them. And that's it. He was pandering to the crowd when it came to that point, but he didn't apologize. Bethesda didn't apologize for how they released 76 and how disappointing 76 ended up being. So the other thing with 76 was that same night of E3, they announced an expansion called Wastelanders. And what that expansion is a free DLC, basically, where they're going to add NPCs to the game. They're going to add everything that was already in Fallout 4 and Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3 back into the Fallout game and as new content. So basically that whole, that meme of EA where it's like they'll sell you half a game and then the other half will be DLC. That's what Bethesda's doing with 76. They sold an unfinished product, and now they're throwing the actual content into the game. So I played 76. I didn't buy it. There's currently a 7-day trial to play 76 for free. It ran from the 10th to the 17th, so it's still ongoing at the time of this video. And so, I don't know when I might upload this video on Monday, so by the time this video uploads, the DLC's little trial will be over. So during this little phase of 7 days being able to play 76, I tried it out, and it's literally what I thought it would be: an empty, boring game. 76 is empty. There's nothing about it that's and this is why they're adding this Wastelanders DLC, because it fixes the emptiness of the game, because the game is just a bared wasteland, and that's not fun. What makes Fallout was the charm of the NPCs. What made Fallout was the dialogue, the dialogue tree, how you communicate, your skills matter, like your perception mattering, your intelligence mattering, your strength, and all those things mattering in dialogue. All of that lacks in 76 at the current state. With the Wastelanders expansion thrown in, it will fix majority of that, but it doesn't fix the core issues of the game, which is boredom. There's not really a lot to do in the game, and you spend more time just walking around than anything else. Especially right now, the enemy type, since there's not humans around yet, you're just dealing with the same enemy types over and over again without that human element, without that element of the bad human factions, or the Brotherhood of Steel, or police officers, any kind of human protagonist or antagonist that you're going to have in the game that would change up the flow of the game. The other issue that I have is inconvenience. Fallout 76 is a very inconvenient video game, and that comes in part if it's not a good quality of life game. So let's talk about the building. They use the exact same building feature that Fallout 4 uses, but it's a little, it's not as good. So say you have your camp and you're building things, you run out of wood. In order for you to get wood, you have to go out and find down trees. Not just trees, down trees. You can't scrap the trees like that are around you when you're in your building like you can in Fallout 4. In Fallout 4, if you're building and there's a tree in your way, you can scrap that tree and get the wood. You can't do that in 76. The only way you can get wood in 76 is if you find a down tree and that's about it. Or if you find like a logging mill and you find logs, that's about it. But if you're literally walking through the forest, there's trees around you, you can't do anything to those trees to get you some wood. And that's inconvenient. And when it comes to this game, it's literally a Fallout 4 port without what made Fallout 4 good. Now, in my opinion, Fallout 4 is just a mediocre game, but the things that are in that game that's good, Fallout 76 don't have, but it has the bare bones of Fallout 4. So the biggest problem when it comes to Fallout, and this isn't just a 76 issue, it's a Fallout 4 issue, a Fallout New Vegas issue, Fallout 3 issue. This is a permanent issue in Fallout: combat. Fallout's combat is horrid. This is a FPS. This is a shooter first and foremost. Yes, it's RPG, but your mechanics are shooter based, and the shooting mechanics of Fallout games is horrid, and they've never improved upon the shooting in the Fallout games. And that's crazy. And that's the biggest problem with Fallout, is that you have this good universe, this beautiful universe, this expansive universe, this lore-driven universe, but your combat is horrible. And VATS in 76 is basically just useless. There's just no point using VATS in 76. One of the most unique features of the Fallout franchise is useless in Fallout 76. And then they also announced Battle Royale for 76. And that's hilarious because battle royales are good when the mechanics of a shooter are at its core. So you have a game with bad shooting mechanics that's going to have a battle royale. Black Ops has good shooting mechanics. Apex has good shooting mechanics. Fortnite has good shooting mechanics. Battlefield 5 has good shooting mechanics. Fallout 76 does not have good shooting mechanics. The combat in 76 is terrible. So why is there battle royale? Well, the reason is obvious. They want to get people to buy this game, and they feel like they're trying to cash in on that battle royale popularity crowd, that they will get people to buy 76. Thing is, Apex is free. Fortnite is free. So why would someone buy 76 if they can play those two games for free? If someone already owns Battlefield 5 and Black Ops 4, why would they buy 76 if they already own those two games who have a better battle royale? And those battle royales are better because the mechanics of those games work perfectly. The mechanics of Fallout games are not perfect. They're terrible. Now, the game itself, when it comes to Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, those are great games. The stories of those games are phenomenal. The lore of those games are phenomenal. The games themselves are phenomenal. But the combat in those games is horrid. And it's the same thing in Fallout 4. Fallout 4, lesser than those two, still an okay game. Mechanics when it comes to combat, terrible. So the biggest problem with Fallout as a franchise, what the problem is with Fallout, is they haven't fixed shooting mechanics. You need to fix that before you decide we should have a battle royale in our game that has a bad shooting mechanics. Because shooting in these games is terrible. So the other issue when it comes to 76 is, as I said before, is everything about 76 just doesn't work the way it should work. Everything about 76 is just not good. And I heard some people and I feel like when it comes to Bethesda's fan base, they're so brain dead that when it comes to 76, they're just like, oh no, this is fine. Everything's fine. It's the perfect game. They came out with all these patches and it fixed all this stuff. The game's perfect. The game's fine. Go play it and find out. I played it. It's not fine. It's a boring game. And I'm pretty sure this Wastelanders expansion won't fix the fact that it's a boring game. It doesn't have that impact that New Vegas had. It doesn't have that impact that Fallout 3 had. It doesn't have that story impact that Fallout 4 had. It doesn't. And the whole idea of, well, if you play with your friends, is better. You can say it about any multiplayer game. If you play with friends, it's better. I will say one thing positive about 76. It does have a good community. Now, one of the things that people fear when it comes to an online game is how bad the community can get. I'll tell you right now, the very first day I played this free trial, there's someone who's a level 111 going around giving the new players free stuff. Like literally, he's level 111. He's been playing this game since the game came out, and when he went to the beginning area for new players, and every new player he saw, he gave them free weapons and free armor and free ammo. Just dropping ammo and armor for new players. That's a good way to introduce players into a game by having a community that's that good. It's a good community. You know, throughout my time playing, I have not come across any toxic players. I've not come across anyone who's trying to destroy my camp or trying to attack me. I've never been attacked. I've come across a lot of random players throughout the game, and I have no bad experience whatsoever. So the community of the game is great, but the game itself is not. With all that said, guys, if this video you think of watching, I hope you all enjoyed. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.